Are you ready to retire? We're going to look at some factors here today that may determine whether you're ready or not for retirement. So stay tuned for the full episode. Thank you for watching. This is Richard with Wisdom Investor. Today we're going to talk about, are you ready to retire? Now, many people, when they think about being ready to retire, they think about what age they want to retire at, 62 or 65. Others think about how much money have I saved? Have I saved enough money? Others think about when will my Social Security be available? So we're going to touch on this topic here today and share some ideas on, are you ready to retire? Today I'm in Friday Harbor, Washington State on the San Juan Islands between Washington State and Canada. Are you ready to retire? The first category, are your finances all worked out? I'm down here in the marina right now at Friday Harbor. You can see some of the boats in the background here, various sailboats and yachts and etc. Now, when we talk about having our income and our expenses in order, having our finances in order, we want to make sure we know what our expenses are and our income. Of course, expenses need to be less than the income. Now, when we take a look at our expenses, and that's perhaps one of the most important first steps to start with, is to find out how much your expenses are going to be, let's say on an annual basis. If your expenses are going to be $36,000 per year, that's $3,000 per month that you're going to need to have covered by your income. Now, your income could come from, let's say, Social Security, pensions, retirement savings, etc. But we want to know what our expenses are. That's the most important thing in the beginning here, as far as having an understanding of our finances. By the way, if you have any comments, you want to share some ideas with us here today, leave some comments. They're much appreciated. Let's take a look at the income side here. If a person's expenses were $30,000 per year, that's $2,500 per month in expenses. If their Social Security is $1,500 per month, that would leave them $1,000 per month in expenses that they would have to come up from their savings or pension. Now, let's say they had $250,000 saved. If they earned 6% on their money, they could withdraw $1,800 per month from their savings in retirement for 20 years. So if we add their retirement savings withdrawal, which is $1,800, and we add that with the Social Security of $1,500, that gives them $3,300 per month. And we said their expenses is going to be $2,500 per month. So in this case, the expenses would be less than income. That's a simple example of making sure your finances work out. Make sure your expenses are less than your income. Our number two factor to make sure you're ready for retirement is to have your debt paid off. Having the debt paid off is very, very important. If you have, say, $300 or $400 per month in debt, and you can get that paid off, that's going to reduce your expense number that you'll have. And that means $300 to $400 less in income that will be going to expenses. That income could go to more pleasurable things like taking a vacation or traveling. Most people visiting here access the island through the Washington State ferry system. Friday Harbor's population is about 4,000, but when the summer tourist season starts, the population explodes. I'm now on the west side of San Juan Island. Looking behind me, you can see the coastline, and then the far background there is Canada. Now, number 3 on our list here today is healthcare. If you retire prior to age of 65, let's say you leave your job, you want to make sure you access healthcare. You either want to sign up for the COBRA plan that your company will offer, or Obamacare, or the ACA, Affordable Care Act plan. Now, if you're already 65, then you want to sign up for Medicare. Make sure you're on the Medicare plan at the age of 65. Here's an old lighthouse on the San Juan Island coastline, and we just spotted a pod of whales just 50 yards off the coast.
They're so graceful.
We hopped on a ferry and headed over to Orcas Island to spend the day. So we stopped here at Rosario Resort. This is East Sound Bay on Orcas Island. We're going to talk about our fourth factor here to consider and determine if you're ready to retire. Have you built a network of friends and relatives? And we're talking to my lovely wife, Sally, here. Sally, what do you think the importance is of building a network of friends and relatives either prior to retirement or after retirement?
Well, I think it's critical. We don't always do a good job of building a network of friends as we're raising our kids and going through life. Things are hectic and disorganized at times. But now you're going to come into retirement. You don't have your kids right there with you anymore, most likely. So it's really a good idea to maybe you want to join a club, or maybe you want to join a senior citizen community where they have activities. But you do want to be around like-minded individuals. Maybe you want to do more volunteer work. But I think it's healthy, mentally healthy, if we can have 2 or 3 girlfriends to call up for coffee, lunch, take a walk. Same thing for Richard. He needs to have some guys that he can go hit golf balls with, or do some other kind of extracurricular activity with. So it is important for your mental health to have a good, stable network of friends and family. Because in retirement, you don't have those days where you're going to be gone for 8 hours doing your job. You're going to have a lot more time on your hands now.
What about your work associates? What happens there?
Well, a lot of times if you only have friends from your work and you're retiring and they're not, or maybe you both retire but you go to different states, you're not going to have a good solid network with them, because a lot of times you end up losing the connection. So I think it's, wherever you land, I think it's a good idea to get involved in the community and start building some healthy friendships.
Okay, Sally, thanks for helping out on this topic.
My pleasure.
We returned to San Juan Island. Now we're in Roach Harbor, Washington on San Juan Island. We're going to go over our fifth factor to determine and consider if you're ready to retire. We're overlooking Roach Harbor on the western side of San Juan Island. I'm at the Roach Harbor Marina. It's a beautiful, beautiful location here on a fantastic day. You may see some Canadian flags behind me, and there's also USA flags. We're right near the Canadian border here. We're in USA territory, Washington state, but it's so close to Canada, many Canadians do come and visit. You can see the restaurant in the background with this beautiful patio here. So it's just a beautiful location here. Now, our fifth area that we're going to talk about when it comes to are you ready for retirement or ready to retire is, do you have an emergency fund set up? Now, it sounds so simple, but you want to go into retirement with some extra savings put aside. You may have your retirement income coming in. You may have some savings for retirement to help pay for your expenses, your regular daily expenses, but you want to have some money set aside as an emergency fund. We talked earlier about your expenses being lower than your income, but as hard as you try, in today's world with inflation like it is, it's just very, very tough. Things just cost more these days. So you've got to be prepared, especially in the first few years. You may do some traveling and you want to be prepared. Travel does cost extra dollars. And of course, this inflation, everything seems to cost more money. Some other considerations to think about when it comes to an emergency fund or emergency savings, especially if you have a house or own a house, you may need to replace the roof or repair the roof. You also may need to paint the house, or it could be some plumbing issues. The water heater needs to be replaced. Or if you own a car, it could be some emergency expenses on a car. Car expenses in today's world are $1,000 at a time. Another emergency expense that can pop up and affect just about everybody as we get into our retirement years is health care issues. We want to make sure that we have some extra savings to protect us for unexpected health care issues or medicines. So those are some reasons that number 5 is very important. Do we have some type of an emergency fund set up? Our 6th factor to consider to determine if you're ready to retire is to make sure you have an interest, a hobby, or something of purpose you enjoy. Yes, it's nice to just kick back when you retire and do nothing. However, eventually you're going to reach a point of boredom. So you want to have some type of activity, something that motivates you each day. You want to keep your mind active. So when I'm talking about being engaged in this world, I'm talking about your body, your mind, and your spirit. Body-wise, keep yourself physically in shape. Your mind, keep your mind active. And your spirit, work on your spiritual life to make sure you have your life in order. They have some beautiful gardens here, loaded with all kinds of herbs, annual flowers, and perennial plants. We talked about 6 factors to consider before you retire. Are you ready for retirement? I want to thank you for watching here today from the San Juan Islands. We had a good time of getting around, and I hope you enjoyed some of the scenery on this. Stay tuned for our next episode. If you have any comments, leave a comments. They will help the next person.